You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, it's Sunday the 12th of January 2025. You are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. And I've had as productive a day today as I was going to have. So I left home at just after 11 o'clock and met up with a friend in London. She lives quite close to Kew Gardens, although we weren't doing that today. We have done that before. We decided to go on a long walk along the River Thames into Richmond, and it was a long walk. I've walked over 11 miles today. I'm just going to check on my watch to see what it thinks I've done. 11.7 miles in total today. So that's a few footsteps. That's nearly 30,000 footsteps. So that's all right. Actually, I'm quite happy with that. But yeah, so it was a really nice day. We walked to Richmond, and there was a pub she'd heard that did really good meals, really good like Sunday roasts. And she wanted to see if they were any good or not. And we were very lucky when we arrived, because they basically said, there's only 6 roasts left. It wasn't they were running out of meat, but they were running out of like the trimmings, basically. So they only had 6 lots of trimmings left. So we ordered there and then. And I had a pork roast, and it was absolutely delicious. It was quite fatty, but it was that kind of pork fat that was just, it was so good. And with the Yorkshire pudding and the lovely gravy and peas and roast vegetables, it was absolutely divine. It was absolutely massive. It's probably, and I wouldn't like to think how many calories are in it, because I must have walked those. I think it's probably about, let's see how many calories. My watch is saying I have burnt, nearly 2,000 calories today. Well, I've probably eaten that mainly in my dinner. So I had a couple of pints of Guinness, the alcohol-free Guinness, because I don't like alcohol at the moment, but I'm not a big fan of regular Guinness, but the alcohol-free one is actually rather pleasant, but I'm sure it's still quite calorific. So yeah, that was really nice, and then we walked most of the way back. And there was some lovely, I didn't take many photographs. I should have done. There was a really lovely point where there's this restaurant on the river, and the restaurant, hang on, I've got photos somewhere. I'll tell you what it's called. It was called he says, trying to find it, Peggy Jean at Riverside Green. And I'm presuming Peggy Jean is the name of the boat and the restaurant, but it was, it looked really nice. We carried on to the place that she wanted to try, but that's somewhere I would happily try in the future. But it was just a really nice day. And so I left home at about 11 o'clock. It was just after 11 actually, to get there for about 1. And then I left just after 8, and I've only just got home. So it's taken up all day, but I was determined to do something towards writing today. So I did an hour 20 this morning, live streamed my writing, and once again got chatting with a couple of people on the stream. There was a guy from Idaho and someone from Sweden got chatting with, and it was just nice. So I didn't get a huge amount of writing done, but I'm kind of into the stuff I wrote a couple of days ago now. And the annoying thing is I actually have plans for tomorrow as well. I think I'm going to the cinema to see the Robbie Williams film Better Man with a friend of mine. So I was hoping to get the chapter signed off tomorrow. I realistically don't think that's going to happen. I think it'll be Tuesday. Then I've got no real plans after that. So they need to have a blitz and try and get chapter 39 done. Trying to get the primary writing done next week. If I can do a couple of thousand words a day, like I did the other day, I stand a chance of doing that. So that's all good. But, so I did do some work and had a good interaction on my live stream. And you may have, if you've watched both the live streams, you'll notice that the text changed between the first version and the second version. And that's because a friend of mine is partially sighted basically told me she couldn't read all of the stuff that came up on screen. So I sat there with her the other day and just showed her the software that generated the opening sequence, and just played with it a bit and just said, can you see that? Is that better? Because it just hadn't crossed my mind that the coloured writing on a black and white background might not be that easy to see. So I changed the colours and put a little black border around. I think that was mainly what I did. I think there was one where it scrolled a bit like Star Wars, and I changed it so it scrolled in a more normal end credits of a TV show kind of way. But yeah, so that's why it changed, because it was pointed out to me by someone partially sighted that it wasn't that easy for someone who's partially sighted to see. So I apologise for that to anybody who watched it that couldn't read it, but it should be good now. And the final thing I'm going to mention today before I sign off is I did put it out as on most of my social media today. My friend T.G. Campbell has revealed the title and cover artwork of her next Bow Street Society book. It's called The Case of the Fatal Flaw. When I read the beta reader version, it had a different title. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what the original title was, so I won't. But she did change the title slightly. The last word is different, so it wasn't the fatal flaw originally. But so we haven't got an exact release date yet, but if you look at all of my social media, details of which you can find on the Linktree link that I give out in the end credits of this, you will see that any of my picture-based social media, so Blue Sky, X, Facebook, all of those, I've popped the cover. Or you could go to bowstreetsociety.com, or indeed follow T.G. Campbell on any of her social medias. But yeah, it looks really good. The cover's out there. The book comes out. Well, I said we don't have an exact date yet. I know it's with an editor now. So yeah, really looking forward to her releasing that. Those of you who listen to this probably won't be that interested in book 7, because I'm guessing most of the people listening to this won't have read book 1 yet. But I thoroughly recommend you go to Amazon, UK or US, depending on where you live, and pick up a copy of The Case of the Curious Client by T.G. Campbell. That's the first book in the series. I don't really like murder mysteries, but it's so well written, and there's an underlying story as well that absolutely drew me in, and I'm still enjoying them. As I say, I was lucky enough to beta read book 7, the one that comes out later in the year. I really liked it. You guys are in for a treat. And then there's only 3 left in the series. She's doing 10. And things are ramping up now, because there's a backstory that runs through all of them that's starting to get a little bit tricky for certain people. But no, great books. Book 7's out this year. And for those of you that have not read any of them, I urge you to go to amazon.co.uk or amazon.com and buy The Case of the Curious Client by T.G. Campbell, available as a paperback or indeed on Kindle. Anyway, that's me done for today. Tomorrow I will do something, but it might not be getting the chapter signed off, as I say, because I'm going out again. But those are my main plans for this week, and after that I won't do much. Take care, thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.